Hello, hello, hello! Thank you, Carl, for that interesting report on the declaration of our Philippine independence. To continue off from his report, we will be talking about the Political Constitution of 1899, also known as the Malolos Constitution. So, as usual, I'll be giving a general overview of the main points we will be discussing, starting from the assembling of the Malolos Congress, then how they drafted the Malolos Constitution, and how it paved the way to the inauguration of the First Republic of the Philippines. But before we dive into it, let's define first what is a constitution. A constitution are the basic principle and laws of a nation, state, or any large community that determine the power and duties of the government and guarantee certain rights to its people. From that definition, we learned how it is a collection of principles or precedents that becomes the basis of how they should govern the people. And like any other constitutions, it is planned, written, drafted, and finalized by a group of remarkable people. In our case, the Malolos Congress was responsible for our first constitution declared in the country. We will discuss later on how the Malolos Congress was formed. It all started in May 24, 1898, when Emilio Aguinaldo established the dictatorial government, which was only temporary in nature. This helped his platform when he finally declares independence on June 12, 1898 in Kawit, Cavite. Although the declaration implied that the United States was an ally of our independence, it is also the occasion that marked the raising of the Philippine flag for the first time. On June 18, 1898, he issued a decree for the election of delegates from provinces, which was to constitute the Revolutionary Congress. On June 23, 1898, Aguinaldo issued a decree replacing the dictatorial government to a revolutionary government. This decree paved the way to the creation of the Congress. Then, on September 15, 1898, he assembled the Revolutionary Congress at the Baraswain Church in Malolos, Bulacan, with Pedro Paterno being elected as the president of the Malolos Congress. The following were some of the notable achievements of the Malolos Congress. In September 29, 1898, they ratified the Declaration of Philippine Independence that was held at Kawit, Cavite on June 12, 1898. The next achievement was them passaging a law that allowed the country to borrow 20 million pesos from banks for government expenses. The third is the establishment of literary arts schools in the Philippines, such as the Universidad Literatura de Filipinas. Technically, this is the first Philippine government university, which was succeeded by University of the Philippines in 1908. And lastly, was the drafting of the first Philippine Constitution. Now let's discuss about the Malolos Constitution, also known as the first Philippine Constitution and the first Republican Constitution in Asia. That was drafted and adopted by the First Philippine Republic. A committee was created to draft the Constitution. On October 8, 1898, Felipe Calderon presented the draft of his Constitution. Later on, he would be known as the father of the Constitution. The Constitution was sent to Aguinaldo for approval. After multiple screenings, it would be promulgated on January 21, 1899, and it paved the way to the launching of the First Philippine Republic. Now, we'll move on to the First Philippine Republic. On January 23, 1899, the Philippine Republic was inaugurated at Baraswain Church with Aguinaldo as president. The Malolos Constitution is the first important Filipino document produced by the people's representatives. It was a constitution of the Filipinos, by the Filipinos, for the Filipinos. Its provisions include the government with popular and responsible representatives with three distinct branches: the executive, legislative, and judiciary. The executive branch powers were vested in the President of the Republic and its cabinet, composing of secretaries of different departments. Legislative powers were vested in the Assembly of Representatives of Delegates elected according to law. The judiciary branch's powers was vested on the highest judicial body, the Supreme Court. All of this while it was benefiting from the separation of church and state. Some unique features of the Constitution include the legislative branch being superior to either the executive branch or the judiciary branch. It is also provided for a permanent commission to sit the legislative body when the assembly was not in session. Lastly, it established a unicameral legislature, which it means it only has one legislative or parliamentary chamber to perform activities or functions. Despite that, the Constitution was a milestone to the capacity of the Filipinos to exercise our independence and safeguard our rights. This pioneered and influenced a lot of the things found in our current Constitution. Thank you for listening to my report, and now we will be closing our overall report with further. Thank you.